Video games. There's no month that goes by without a media outlet writing an article about how playing video games is directly connected to aggressive behavior. Which asks the question, does playing video games really lead to violence? In this video, I will be discussing why video games causing violence is such a major topic and what the research evidence proves. By looking at this excerpt from the Journal of Communication published in 1984, it is clear that even in the early days of video games, when classics such as Tron and Donkey Kong were just being released, views towards video games causing violence were already present, with psychologist Philip Zimbardo stating that video games only provide the message of eating, burning, or zapping the enemy, rather than bargaining or cooperating with them. With the mentality that video games cause violence present since the very beginning, why is it still being discussed 3 decades later? The answer is that researchers are so certain that video games cause violence that they fail to standardize their methods and don't account for external factors such as family matters causing a stronger link between video games and violence, as revealed in Christopher J. Ferguson's meta-analytic review on the evidence of publication bias in video games and violence studies in 2007. Another reason shown by a Swedish overview on the research from 2000 to 2011 is that most studies only measured aggressive thoughts and not behaviors or actions, and the participants were only measured immediately after playing the video games. This way of measuring is inconsistent and cannot be used to prove that video games cause violence, as it doesn't show long-term effects. Of all the studies, only 11% were longitudinal. Within the 11%, only 11 studies provided evidence to a connection between video games and violence. Of the 11 studies, only 3 took into account background data. In 2 of the 3 studies, the background data was able to explain the person's preference and aggressive behavior. This is not to say that video games cannot affect the players. A study conducted by Albert Bandura in 1961 about the transmission of aggression through imitation of aggressive models, in which a group of boys and girls with a mean age of 52 months were either exposed or not exposed to a person attacking a Bobo doll. Afterwards, the children were taken into a room with many toys to play with, including a Bobo doll. The study found that most of the group exposed to the person attacking the Bobo doll also began attacking the Bobo doll after being left to play. This shows how young children would most likely exhibit aggressive behaviors if they played violent video games. Thankfully, in Australia, like most countries, there is a strict rating system that prevents young children from being able to buy these violent video games. However, this is not as relevant as it may seem, since the average gamer age is not 10, 12, or 15, but rather 31 years old. After conducting his meta-analytic review on the topic, Christopher J. Ferguson conducted his own experiment in 2010 with 103 young adults who were given a frustration task, and then randomly selected to play games with differing themes, before once again being given a frustration task. The results showed that participants that had a long history of playing video games showed decreased hostility and reduced depression through good mood management, ultimately proving that in the long run, playing video games actually lowers violence.